Hello, welcome back, lifelong learners. I am Priscilla. I've got you covered for the pain of reading hours and hours of textbook and just finishing your assignments. Today, I'm going to take you through a real day of how I study and completing assignment in this. For those who don't know, I study in University of Florida online. I used to just understand and remember the content. That's how we're tested, right? As I move to upper division courses like clinical psychology, there is so much content to cover, I don't even have time to memorize or to apply. So I need to process at an insane speed. Here we go on the roller coaster ride. Hop on, babies. I should not call you babies. You guys are full-grown adults, right? This is my last week of lectures. So today I have around 40 pages reading, and now it's close to 11, and I haven't done any of my work. That's due at 1 p.m. College has taught me that to finish assignments in an aggressively short amount of time. Let's start. The Earth itself does not care if it's 2021 or 2022. Before an alien dissects my brain and understand how I read, I want to do it myself first.
She's good. We're good. It's all great.
The voice inside my head asks me, how do you think the brain processes text? I have a really weird hobby habit that I like to befriend the dead. This means that I talk to famous scientists and old wisdoms from books. The algorithm just reads my mind sometimes. The algorithm pushed me a video book summary called How to Read a Book. I never liked reading textbooks as a student, but I have to find a way to enjoy it. That's our job and responsibility as a student, right? And the voice in my head comes out and turns into a really critical voice. Confident self is like, no, you gotta try this. You will never know until you try. The past studying method of just understanding and fooling myself and memorizing for a test did not work for this. Our star is clinical psychology. Clinical psychology is very unique. Behaviors cannot be measured and put into clean-cut boxes, like a blood pressure can be measured and numericalized. The diagnostic criteria are a description of a behavior. I can understand all the diagnostic criteria but still fail to make a diagnosis on this potential client. If I want to increase my problem solving and critical thinking abilities, from a few chapters of tries and fails, I have successfully applied the reading skills from how to read a book to my academic setting. You can memorize those 4 steps with a simple acronym, S, S, and S. Once you have grasped those concepts of reading and learning, they can be very applicable to learning all types of subjects. The first one is scope and setup. Our goal for this step is to paint a conceptual big picture. I will zoom in for the micro and zoom out for the macro, using diffuse attention, focus attention, and visual field to create the maximum learning experience for the brain. Like this painting I've just started, I will start with structural composition and then work my way into the detail. Now I have just started the timer, so let's watch the lecture and see what I can take notes of. In the lecture, the professor will build a foundational understanding layer for me to build on top of it with the readings detail. We're going to start from here. On my notes, I have broken down personality disorder into 3 categories: cluster, A, B, and C. And yes, that is how the 12 personality disorders are organized. In this step, the main purpose is to connect concepts and group information in a meaningful way. I will cement the 3 categories of personality disorders in my brain and then ask, why does the previous psychologist want to group personality disorders like that to facilitate my understanding? So we have our foundation layer established. First, we are going to upload a PDF. I will open up the textbook and look at the table of contents. Now my goal is to put all those concepts into my mental map. Just like a map of Earth, it does not represent the exact location of the boundaries in countries. This would feel very weird at first because information is presented linearly to us in an outline. But I am trying to break the outline format and group information non-linearly. And during the process of fitting things into my mental map, map. I will ask questions such as how is X related to Y, under what circumstances this disorder would be diagnosed, or what are the commonalities of A, B, and C. When I began to construct mental maps of differences and commonalities of personality disorders, the chances of being accurate on the first time is very rare. I will have to have the mindset of keep on improving the accuracy of the mental model. Some of those I just don't understand because I haven't seen disordered before. I've added a few questions on things that I don't understand. We have solidified the foundational understanding of personality disorders. Okay, let's go to the next step. The next step is the actual reading step. Speed up or slow down. With reading such long, difficult, and academic texts, I would like to think myself as a mental marathon runner. I will pace my attention and mental stamina throughout this whole process.
This is how the brain reads. Written word processing starts at our eyes. The tiny printed text we see on paper can only be read by the highest resolution part of our eyes, which is called the fovea. With this visual field, I can only read 2 to 3 words at once, then the brain will piece all those together. By understanding this, how to pace yourself will make a lot of sense.
There are 2 types of reading here. Slow reading with sounding out every single word in my brain, and speed reading. Of course, there's a trade-off in comprehension in speed reading. Golden rule that I follow here is that when I encounter a new term or concept that I do not understand and it cannot fit into my current mental model, I will slow down and I will turn on the voice in my head and read each word aloud. I will use speed reading when I first start with the introduction and overview of personality disorders. For example, in this sentence, and when I read this long sentence, I will not sound out every single word. I will group 2 to 5 words together and construct my meaning based on this. And then ways of relating will be the second group. And I will tend to skip filler words such as and, is, or simple verb connector words. And later on in the sentence, it has commas separating each part. And the sentence will be read in my mind as personality disorder is the, and the, with putting emphasis on the words that are factors that contributes to the development of personality disorder. When I speed read, my arousal state will be relaxed and less attentive. The goal here is to sprint to the parts that I don't know and spend most amount of time here with slow reading. And I have to read furthermore using slow reading to build my understanding. And in the slow reading phase, my attention will be turned on. My visual field will be very sharp because I'm trying to sounding out each word in my head. Up to this point, hopefully you have peeked into my brain and I don't want to waste your time. So thank you if you watched until now. I'm 21 years old and still have so much worries about life and no idea where I'm going. The fourth S is select the cherries. I'll be very, and yes, repeating 3 times, intentional with my selective note-taking. I want to hold on things in my mind. I want to have learning happen in my brain instead of happening on the paper. So after I read through a sentence in my brain, it won't go directly onto my note-taking app. We can maximize the time spent. Yeah, pretty much is me. This is a study technique that I use to increase my capacity of taking in information. I don't want my attention to be like little goldfish. The internet has kind of ruined my attention. Kind of turned me into a goldfish fetus.
Y'all got some ugly goldfish.
When I speed read and slow read, I will pause and take active processing breaks on the things that I've just consumed. I will type a little mini summary after each section and make sure that I have understand the text. I really like remnote because I can have text on one side and it has the toggle function of hiding all my notes after I read so I can focus on bullet point I need to focus, and I can copy and paste keywords onto the notepad on the side. Let's move on to the third step, shall we? So now let's see how we are on time. I finished the reading in an hour. Syntopical reading, aka as comparative reading. I will read many sources on personality disorder and compare and contrast the opinion and argument of each source, and the basic principles and concepts that are very similar in all of them are the things that I have to memorize. This is a good break to take from reading textbooks like every other university student out there. When I'm tired of doing things for school, I will go hop on YouTube I will search videos about personality disorders from Tech Khan Academy or Crash Course to enhance my understanding. From watching those videos, it strengthens my understanding of personality disorder. It feels like I'm putting personality disorder, the subject, on a pedestal and tackling this concept from a 360-degree angle. And know it in a well-rounded shape and form. I'm hugging a plant and it's so weird. And for drawing mind maps, there are even more principles, and this is out of the scope of today's video. I will make another one in the future, so please consider subscribing if you want to get notified about my future video about mind mapping. So those are the notes that I made from Crash Course, reading textbooks and watching the YouTube videos. It's quite short and to my own words, and throughout this extremely convoluted process, I have created foundational layers of thinking and then built on top of it textbooks, concepts, and combine it with what I know already. And now, after I have built a clear understanding and relationship of all those disorders, we will move on to the discussion. Here is where the application of knowledge truly shines. And with many of those discussions, it can be accepted. We have exactly a little bit more than half an hour, so cross my fingers and I'll finish this assignment. This discussion is not like an hypothetical diagnostic case. It is to research on school violences and their personality characteristics and assess what type of people should be executed or not based on their diagnosis of an antisocial personality disorder or a schizophrenia. This professor really like the ethics and morality problem. I mean, it makes the assignment require a lot of thinking and cognitive effort. That's where deep learning happens. So thank you, professor, for providing that opportunity. How much I wish in real life my assignment was complete this fast. Hey, I am done with the assignment. It is 12:50 minutes before. I have escaped the education system and designed a routine and environment that's suitable for myself. I'm sure you can apply those concept principles to your own reading too. The point of this video is not to show you how fast or how good I'm at studying. It's the invisible thinking process that really matters. And I struggle along the process. Or this won't be the last time that I will be struggling. Because when I struggle is where I will grow. And I am excited. And if you're interested in clarifying your thinking, feel free to check out the video on how I use relational thinking to take notes on biochemistry. Be ordinarily mindful and curiously fearless. Thank you so much for spending your time watching me. Have a great week. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!